Sister Luanny was raptured in spirit and saw Jesus with nail marks in his hands. This experience deeply impacted her life and will move you as well.
Peace of the Lord, brothers and sisters. I'm going to share a testimony that happened to me some time ago. It didn't happen recently, but I'd like to share it because I know these testimonies strengthen the faith of many. By no means are the testimonies I share here to glorify myself, because no one is worthy of anything. God reveals things and can show something to anyone, to whoever he chooses. So this happened to me, and all the glory be to God. That day, I hadn't slept very well. I woke up and went straight to preach. I evangelized in the streets and came home exhausted. I had just gotten home, and I laid down on my bed. I was alone, and I started praying. I was so tired that I fell asleep while praying, sitting on the bed, unable to even lie down. Then, God gave me some revelations, and if it's his will, I'll come back to share them. But God showed me some things. It was as if my spirit had been taken, and God took me to show me certain things, and then my spirit returned. When my spirit came back, it sat on my bed, beside my body, and then I looked forward and saw him. At first I thought it was an angel, but it was Jesus. He had linen clothing. I was sure it was linen. It wasn't pure white, it was a slightly darker linen, and his body shone so brightly. He had a gold belt tied around his waist, and he started getting closer to me. Like I said before, I thought it was an angel. As he came closer, I didn't feel any fear of him. When he got really close, as if he were passing by the bed while I was sitting on it, I saw his hand, and there was a hole. In other words, they were the nail marks. The Bible says, the marks from the nails of the cross remain forever. I didn't see his face because of the position I was in, half sitting with my head down, and I couldn't move my body. I could only see what was happening. I could see from the neck down. When I realized it was Jesus, it was as if I had a desperate desire to run and hug him, because the love he radiated was so great that it felt like I was being embraced. You know that feeling when someone hugs you? That really comforting hug? I can't express it in words, but it's a hug full of care, full of love. But it's a love far greater than what we know. A love so complete, so wonderful that all I wanted was to hug him, to get closer to him, you know? And he noticed that. I know he did because I started to feel desperate, wanting to at least be able to touch him. And then in that agony of just wanting to touch him, he allowed me to move only my hand. He didn't say anything. When I realized I could move just my hand, I quickly grabbed his hand, because at that moment, he was already leaving. He couldn't stay. I understood that he couldn't stay, that he needed to go. It was as if I knew in my heart that he couldn't remain for long. So my heart began to ache, and it ached even more, because all I wanted in that moment was for God to allow me to go with him. If God had allowed me to leave, I would have gone without hesitation. Because what you feel is an overwhelming desire to be with him. When you feel it, you just know it's love. A love so great. It's a feeling you'll never experience anywhere on this earth. So I felt sad because of that, knowing that he was going to leave. I'm trying to share the experience itself and what I was thinking in that moment. When he allowed me to move my hand, and I managed to grab his hand, I was actually only able to hold on to his pinky finger. And I get emotional, because I'll never forget it. It's such a deep gratitude to God, you know, for allowing me to see these things. Witnessing something like that doesn't happen every day. It's such a great blessing to be able to witness this. So he left. He had to go. He passed behind my bed, and I woke up. I looked at my body, and my vision was normal again. I started praying to God, asking about the revelations I had received earlier. I talked to him and began to glorify him for what I had seen. And all I can tell you is that it's worth it. It's worth serving God, renouncing what needs to be renounced, having a life with God, truly not living in sin. It's worth it. It's worth it. There's no way to explain who God is. If everyone knew how great his love is for us, everyone would serve him. But not everyone knows God's love like this. They might know about it, but knowing means experiencing his love. God's love is beautiful and grand. It's a love that even your mother doesn't have for you. It's the most complete and perfect love that exists, and all you feel is a tremendous joy, a great joy in your heart. So that's what I wanted to share today. It's worth serving God. And by the way, I didn't see heaven or anything like that. I know people who have testified about being taken and seeing heaven. What I saw is small in comparison, but for me, it was already a lot. It was so much, and I thank God for having seen that. After reflecting on this experience, the desire that remains is that you can't wait for the moment to leave this world and be with Him, close to Him. That's why the Bible says God has prepared great things for those who love Him. Those things are in heaven, not here on earth. We don't even know, but He's already preparing wonderful, grand things for us. For me, what attracts me to heaven isn't even the garden or the mansions, none of that. What draws me to heaven is the presence of God. Even if heaven were just a place to be prostrated, worshiping God forever, I would still long for heaven because God is everything to me.
Did you enjoy the video? On the screen, you'll find some recommendations for similar ones that you're sure to like. Also, check out our playlists to binge watch more content like this. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a like. Until the next video.